Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Connection. I believe it's episode 144. Here we are on the other side of Pesach. It's always very interesting for me, and I'll go into a little bit, especially why. But I always find that there's this like in my mind, like I cannot ignore the fact that there's this like that Pesach takes up this like space in like the way I think about time that everything is like before Pesach and after Pesach. So it could be that something is like the day after Pesach or a week after Pesach. And I still think of it as like way far or something I can't even really think about until Pesach is over. I don't know if you guys are with me on this, but this becomes especially relevant every year because we are not only on the other side of Pesach, but as soon as we get to the other side of Pesach, that means that we are in with all your heart season. Who is excited? I am excited with all your heart is going into promotion hopefully tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem. I'm actually going to give you guys a sneak peek. You can already go ahead and sign up for it. I have to give you a special link because it's not fully ready yet, but I'm gonna drop the link here for anybody who wants to go in and see what it looks like right now. It's almost ready. You don't share it yet, and by the time this goes to recording, I'm sure anyone who's listening to the recording is already going to see the real thing. If you're looking at a mobile, you won't yet see the speakers because that's still being worked on. If you're on a computer, you will see the amazing lineup of speakers that we have, and I'm really excited for it. And I'll tell you, it took time for me to get excited about it. There was a period of time. I know this is not our real topic, but I'm just sharing with all of you from my heart. There was a period of time where I was really struggling with whether or not to like how to feel that this was the right time to do this. I say it in the video on the page, and it's real. I mean, everything that I say on the page is real. I'm very authentic and very just real in what I'm saying. And that was really my process of like, how is this the right time? Is this the right with everything going on in the world, everything going on in our hearts, everything that we're dealing with, everything that we're thinking about and davening for? Like, is it the right time to do with all your heart? And what got me to feel yes, this is the right time is when I realized that what I what that means, right? For is it the right time means that with all your heart just needs to be set up in a way that will really serve us as Jewish women right now, where we are now and what we're struggling with. And I started to get very excited about how this year it might be feel a little bit different. Definitely the trainings are going to feel different. It's going to be a little bit of a different focus. And yet knowing that that's what we need right now. And one and always it always excites me and lights me up to think of sharing with you what we need, right? Like being here to support you and guide you in the path that is important for you, what you need, what you're looking for, so that you know that that is exists. There is guidance, there is support, there are those tools that can make a difference for you. And so if anyone even has any specific challenges that they feel it's important to address right now. Anyone who, if you have questions, if you have topics that you'd really like to see addressed, you're always welcome to send them to me. But especially now, as I'm putting together, I'm going to really be taking you on a journey this year. Not just the trainings are, if you've been to With All Your Heart before, you know that there's the interviews and then there's the trainings that I do every day live. And generally those trainings have been based on an idea that was in the interview or questions that came up, um, things that women liked about the interview and wanted to go deeper into, a piece of the interview that really resonated with me that I really want to share, how I express this in my work. And what we're going to be doing this year is more taking you on a very on a journey, right? On that to take you to a place where you feel that you can be the strong and loving woman of the home, right? To be there for your family, to be strong for them, and also to be loving and nurturing, right? Sometimes we think of strength as being like this, I'm strong and I'm, like hard. And I remember years when I really first started my journey into like working on myself as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. I remember one of my first mentors saying to me that you want to be soft and strong. Soft and strong. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I say like strong and loving, while also building a relationship, building a home where you feel like you are being protected. You feel like you have a safe place to go. You have that relationship to rely on. You know that no matter what is going on, that there is that safety of the relationship that you have, right? That no matter what is going on in the world, you know you have each other. You know that you have support. You know you have that you are part of a team. And so that is my intention for the program. Does that sound good to you guys? That's my intention for With All Your Heart this year. That's what I'm going to be really looking to provide you with is guidance in each of like in those two kind of realms, and I'll be taking you on that kind of guided journey in the trainings of the With All Your Heart series. So let me know if you're excited about that. Let me know if you're going to sign up. Let me know if you're going to join With All Your Heart. It is, this free series that I do every year. It's the 8th year. Thank God, please God, the 8th year that this With All Your Heart is happening. It's how I first got started. Most of you probably met me through a With All Your Heart, right? So excited about that. Are you guys excited? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Does that mean people are not excited about it? Oh, okay. I'm seeing one thing. Thank you. Everything you do and everything you say is so helpful. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Yes, look forward every year. Great, Baruch Hashem. I love that. Like sometimes the day before we go into promotion, I start getting emails like, "Is With All Your Heart happening this year?" Like, yes, yes, thank God, it's happening. And please God, this year it's going to be starting next Wednesday. So promotion will start tomorrow. When you get an email from me, and this is where I'm really, all of you ladies who are listening to the podcast, who are here live for Coffee and Connection, when you get that email and you get the link, not this link, this is just for you to look at, okay, and sign up. When you get the email with the link, please share it. Share it with as many women as you can. Put it in your WhatsApp groups, share it with your family, your friends, email it to people. The more we get it out there, the more these ideas get out, the ideas of the women that are speaking on it as well, the women that I interview. I'm so excited about you hearing their messages. And it's we know like the power in knowing that these tools exist, knowing that there's this support, knowing that there's this guidance, the difference that it makes in your life. And I invite you to share it with as many women as you can. And I'm excited for it to get out there. So let's now go into our topic today for Coffee and Connection. It's a great topic. I found myself talking about it with my masteries clients. I talked about it on the last Absolutely Feminine coaching call. And I want to share with all of you because I think it's really important, especially coming off of Pesach, because I always say, and we've had a few Coffee and Connections on this in the past, you can find in the archives. I always say that this is a great time to kind of reflect on like, how did we do, right? To do like a Pesach, what do they call it? I can't think of the word right now. There's a word where you like go back and you review it and you see like what worked and what didn't work. And what came up right after Pesach in my mastery group was this topic of how the way that because of the fact that challenges and victories usually come up at the same time, it can really actually get us stuck. So let me say what I mean about that. If I ask you right now to take a few minutes, and we don't have the time to really go into it. So, I invite you to do this afterwards. Like I said, there's whole other Coffee and Connections on this topic of like really asking yourself, what are the victories that I had over Pesach? What worked? What do I see that I did well? What am I happy about what I did? Whether it was the menus that I had, let me write them down so I can repeat them next year, or whether it was the help that I got, or I really like the way I interacted with the kids when things got hectic, or the trips that we took, or who I was being on Erev Pesach, or the timeline of when I turned over the kitchen, like what worked practically and emotionally, right? When I got upset, I went to my room and I calmed down, or I went on a walk, or I didn't lose it. I let my kids take over the kitchen when they wanted to, or I'm so happy I was able to cook for everyone and make all of that food, whatever worked for you. And then to also ask yourself, what didn't work? Right? What would you like to improve on? What were some of the challenges that came up? And this is not about bashing yourself or feeling bad or guilting yourself, or it's about being just real and like what didn't work. And both of these are really important to do because when we celebrate our victories, we recognize, like I said before, what works so we could do it again, rinse and repeat. Like have your menus saved for you. I like to save them in my what I have a WhatsApp group for myself. Have them saved in your phone so that next year you can just be like, I don't have to think about what to make for Shabbos HaGadol. I think next year Shabbos HaGadol is like the day before is Erev Pesach. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about what to make for the Seder. I don't have to think about how long did I bake those cookies for that finally came out really good. I actually made up a chocolate chip cookie recipe this year and it came out good. So I don't have to reinvent the wheel next year and wonder in that oven, how long do I bake it for? At what temperature? Write it all down so I can do it again. And not just can I do it again, but it also, when we celebrate our victories, it gives us koach, it gives us strength, it gives us a sense of an incentive, right? I know that this can work. I know that this what works for me so I can keep doing it, and I see that I can move forward. If we don't focus on our victories ever, we're just going to get lost in our challenges. When we get into our victories, we realize, okay, I'm taking a step. I'm taking another step. I'm moving forward. I'm getting somewhere. We don't just get pulled into like what didn't work and how we're not where we want to be. We allow ourselves to acknowledge where what is working, and that something is working and we can keep moving forward. And it's important to acknowledge our challenges, again, not to beat ourselves up or make ourselves wrong, but so that then we can really look to see, okay, what can I do about it, right? How can I improve on this? What difference can I make? What do I need help with? What do I need to learn? What do I want to make sure I know how to do by next Pesach? If I see that like I really lost it when I got stressed out, okay, so what am I going to do to learn how to be in control of my emotions, to deal with my triggers, right? Something we work on all the time in the Absolute Feminine program. And I always love when my clients share. And I got so many of them this year. Like I can see how I'm so different this Erev Pesach than last Erev Pesach. Why? Because I worked on my triggers, because I learned how to take care of myself. I see what makes a difference for me. And it's so powerful when we can recognize what's not working, so that rather than beating ourselves up, we could say, okay, so what do I need to learn in order to not get stuck here in the future? Now, here's the thing. Okay, that was kind of the introduction. Here's the thing. The reality is that most of the time, if you think about an area of a victory, or you think about an area of a challenge, they're very often the same place. Like probably because nothing is perfect. If you think of your Erev Pesach or your Seder or your, not very much week of Chalamoid and all the Yantivs and Shabbos and Shabbos and Erev Yantivs and all this stuff that had to get done, probably you're going to think of both victories and challenges, and they often come together. Just like, yes, making Pesach is exhausting and exhilarating when it's done, right? When like, wow, it feels so good, right? The Seder is a lot of work and a lot of juggling different people and what they want and what bothers them and all, and also so just it's exhilarating, like this night of connection and connecting to what it means to be a Jew and teaching that to our children. And there's something so powerful about it. And it can feel inspiring while we're also juggling, how do is the food going to burn? And how are we going to keep everybody awake? Or how are we going to keep the like the baby asleep? Like we're juggling so much at the same time. And here's where we can really get stuck. If you ever feel, I really gave like the description came to me of like, if you feel like you're like in, like those electric cars, those like remote control cars that sometimes, or if you ever did like bumper cars and you are like trying to drive or like a go-kart or whatever, and you find yourself like spinning, like it's just spinning, it's not moving, it's like getting stuck just going, or like you're in quicksand, right? Like you can't move. It's very often because of the fact that because the victories and the challenges come together, we don't let ourselves have the benefit of celebrating the victories or working through the challenges. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say you want to celebrate a victory. So you're thinking about your Erev Pesach and you're like, wow, like I was able to, whatever it was for you, right? I was able to get in a shower before, or I got everything done, or, I stayed calm most of the day, right? Um, I was able to get dressed before Yantif started and feel really good about whatever it was, right? At the same time, you might be thinking, yeah, but I did have that moment when I got upset at my husband. There was that last dish I didn't get to make. Yeah, but I didn't get to like really I really rushed through candlelighting, or I didn't finish putting on, my makeup or my jewelry, or I didn't really get to take time. Like you think of the challenge at the same time. And then that can stop you from actually celebrating the victory. Like, yeah, I was calm most of the day, but I yelled at that kid, when they were remember when Eric Bezak, my son, bringing his bag of they was taking to burn, and he was going like this, and he was like, I was like, can you stop doing that? And like that was my moment of like not being my best self, right? And like that, so I can't celebrate the whole day, right? And we don't allow ourselves to celebrate the victory because we say, yeah, but it wasn't all good. We just should on ourselves, and we put our perfectionism on ourselves. And it's just like, well, I can't really celebrate the victory because it wasn't so, yeah, the Seder was really nice, but those two kids got in a fight and the chicken was burnt. And so, I don't know if all the kids really like got into the singing, so like wasn't really so good. And we don't allow ourselves to actually celebrate what worked because we're so full. We tell ourselves, I can't celebrate it because it wasn't perfect. Does this resonate with you? That feeling of like I we don't allow ourselves to celebrate the victory because our brain goes to all the challenges. And then we don't get the benefit of celebrating the victory and building on it and feeling good about it and feeling encouraged and feeling inspired because we're focused on but it wasn't perfect. Like our brain just pushes it away. But then when we go to think about the challenges, tell me if this resonates. As soon as we start to think about the challenges, our brain interprets it almost like we're complaining. It's like, well, no, it's not, you can't just say the Seder wasn't good. You can't just complain about it when like there was all these, thank God you had your family with you, and thank God you have food, and thank God people participated, and thank God you were able to, we just like make it like we can't think about our challenges because we have good in our lives. And like as if like focusing on your challenge and so that you can deal with it. No, but then we feel guilty about thinking about our challenge. We guilt ourselves about having victories because there's also challenges. And then we guilt ourselves about our challenges because there's also victories. And that's how we end up spinning and spinning and stuck in that quicksand, right? That's the actual quicksand that we find in our lives, right? Of like, we don't allow ourselves the benefit of either one. We can't celebrate my victories because there's also challenges. And I can't deal with my challenges because that would negate the fact that there's victories, that there's good things, that there's blessing, as if dealing with like celebrating victories means you're saying it was perfect, but we're not. And as if dealing with challenges and being real about them means that you're complaining and discounting the positive things in your life. And so here is my message to you. Okay. And here's what I invite you to open your, like, really see and understand so that then you can do the exercise of unpacking your Pesach, debriefing. That was the word I was trying to think of before. Unpacking, debriefing your Pesach so that you can move forward, not just for next Pesach, but for today, for tomorrow, for the Erev Shabbos that's happening in, okay, this like feels like for, it's so far off because it's the first time that we're having a whole week in like a long time, right? So I don't even know because it was before Pesach. It's just a long time ago, right? Like I was saying. So what do we, here's the message. Here's the tool. The tool is allowing yourself, recognizing that you can, that we do have. It's not you can have. It's that you'll always have. You'll always have victories and challenges at the same time. It's the reality of the fact that there's no such thing as perfection. It's the reality of the fact that as we grow, we see, we're more aware of more that we, what is possible. It's the fact that we can never make everyone happy at the same time. We can never do everything perfectly. Nothing, right? So with that, that means that every time you have something that you want to celebrate, you're probably celebrating within a challenge, and the victory is not going to be like a perfect victory. There's no such thing as a perfect victory. It's, I did it differently than I would have. It worked better than it did in the past. I was more in control. I was more real. I was more in control of myself. I meant I was more real. I was more authentic. And something sticking out of my, okay. I was more authentic. I was more connected. Um, it tasted better, whatever it is, right? The victory is usually from within the challenge, and it's not perfect, but that, not to allow that to hold you back from celebrating the victory. And your challenges are not going to be, not like disasters. They don't, like, it's not gonna be a disaster. If something is a total disaster, you're not even thinking about it. Like it's just it's not coming. It's only feels like a challenge because it's something that you care about and you're being mindful of. It's something that you're conscious of. So there's also going to be victories in it and blessing, and celebrating your victories and working through your challenges do not do not have to be like an all or nothing thing. They exist together, and sometimes that is the most powerful work that we do. It's the most powerful debriefing is when we can see a situation, see a day, a week, an event, and be able to say, here was my victories in it, and here are my challenges. Here's what worked well, and I want to do more of, and I want to keep going forward from. And here's where I want to learn more. I want to grow from that. I want to see how I can do it better. I want to see how where I was getting stuck. And we allow ourselves to grow from and learn from both the victories and the challenges, right? And it's so important. It's so important. So I hope that that was, yeah, it was totally like you saying, they were like self-sabotage. Otherwise, we're totally self-sabotaging ourselves when we get stuck in one or the other. And the power of being in both at the same time, right? The power of being able to say, I feel I had a victory here and I have a challenge. And that's a topic we're going to talk about a lot next week. That is, so they kind of they kind of lead, let's use that word. It's a better word. They lead into each other. And we'll talk about that next week because next Monday night is a very interesting place in at least the Israeli calendar. And I know, some people are more connected to that calendar or less. But I think especially we will talk about that reality of holding two truths at one time, that interesting moment where you're like recognizing pain and celebration at the same time. It's a very interesting dichotomy that exists in our lives. It exists in our lives. And this is one expression of it. And we'll go into it more next week because it's a real tool. It's a real skill to be able to hold two truths at one time. And I want to talk about it. And I think it's a good opportunity too. And so we'll do that more. Please come next week. In the interim, sign up for all with all your heart, with all your heart. I'll put the temporary link again. This is just for you guys who are on here live. You can be the first ones to sign up. I'm so excited because I really believe this is going to be a very meaningful experience for all of us, a very meaningful journey, a very meaningful event. And that's my dedication on top of what I'm always dedicated to during With All Your Heart, of it being life changing, of it giving you support, of it giving you help, guidance, knowing you're not alone. All of, like, every year, it's like a little bit of a different like angle, but they all build on each other. You're not alone. You're not hopeless. To have that hope, to have that guidance, to know that we're in this together, while also making it a very meaningful experience of creating safety, creating security, creating connection that you can feel that safety in, that you can feel comfortable in, that you can build a home together with your husband and also feel like you're being that strong and loving woman that you need for yourself and that your family needs from you. I hope that that is sounds already signed up. Yay! Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm excited for all of you to be there. I'm excited to see you there. And I can't wait to see you next week. And after you get the email, to please share it far and wide, and let's invite as many women as we can to join this wonderful community of women who are so dedicated to working on themselves, building a beautiful, beautiful home, beautiful family, and really celebrating our victories and working through our challenges, because that's how we grow. And that's what we're here for. And I love doing it together with all of you. So thank you. I Let's say our Tehillim together. Let's say a parak of Tehillim together. I've been the last few times, I think I made some mistakes. The last time we did it together, I did not know. I do not think I knew that Tehillim properly off by heart. You always think you know them, and then you're like, wait, without it, if I can't sing it, I don't have the Tehillim in front of me. And then also, I think the week before I said the wrong number. I don't know. Let's together say 121. It's always a good one to say, and really remembering that Hashem is always with us, and always there taking care of us. I remember once taking when my kids were really little, like just my now my big ones, my adults, taking them on a family trip, and we were sitting in a place where there was more open sky and looking at the stars, and my daughter said, "Well, what happens when Hashem goes to sleep?" And I got to quote her, right? Hine lo yanum velo yishan. Hashem doesn't sleep. He's always watching us. He's always taking care of us. It's the message of the Seder. It's the message that we get to keep reminding ourselves and knowing is true. And then we get to keep doing that work where we always remember Hashem is with us, and always keep him with us in our hearts, right? To always live by that truth. So here we go. Kuf Kaf Aleph, for all the Hayalim and all the hostages to come home safe, for all of Am Yisrael to be safe, and for everyone that needs our tefillo, for all of Am Yisrael to have the healing and the geula that we all need. Shir lema'alot esa einai el ha'arim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka ve'erech balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra. Yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzedcha uvuecha me'ata v'ad olam. Thank you all for davening with me. Thank you all for being here with me. I'll see you all next week, please God. Until then, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.